Do you believe in Sooner magic? I hope you do. The Oklahoma Sooners pull off a massive upset of number 4 Alabama. We're going live. We're talking about it all right now on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome to Locked On Sooners, and thank you for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers and all of you here that are with us in the live show. Thank you for making Locked On the number one sports podcast network in the industry. I'm John Williams of Sooners Wire and USA Today Sports, and my goodness, what a game, what a win, what a statement by the Oklahoma Sooners. This was not a pretty win by any stretch of the imagination. We're not even going to pretend like it was, but it was a win. And a win is a win is a win is a win. And that's what this team has been doing all season long, save for they've played good ball all year long. You can have moments in games this year where things kind of got away from them. And it felt like in this one that things were going to get away from them. And it wasn't. It didn't. They held on just long enough. They got just enough defensive stops. They got just enough plays on offense to pull off this win. There's no way they should have won this game. They were severely outgained. They were outplayed in the first half for the most part, except the defense made just enough plays to stop that Ty Simpson and Alabama passing attack. And the offense made just enough plays to get points on the board. And that's the ball game. And it's one of those games that you can look at the box score and the analytics and all of it. And you're not going to understand how Alabama lost this game, even with turnovers. You're not going to understand it because the yardage situation was so heavily tilted in Alabama's favor that, again, Oklahoma shouldn't have got it, but they got a win. And we're not going to say it was luck. It wasn't luck. It was good defense at timely spots and pulling off the big upset win. I mean, you're up 3-0 in the first quarter and you get the Eli Bowen pick 6. I don't think I've celebrated so much on a play. My 9-year-old daughter was looking at me real strange because I'm a 43-year-old man in the living room jumping up and down, yelling, go, 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 let's go, let's go, let's go. And he gets it all the way back into the end zone for a touchdown to make it 10-0. You're like, holy crap. We just might actually do this. Now, I picked Oklahoma going into the game. 26-24 is what I had it. But still, they have to go and win the game. They have to go execute. They have to go play well. They've got to go make plays to go win a football game. But right then, that's when I thought it was the moment. That's when I really thought, hey, they can actually go pull this thing off. Remember, Alabama had the longest home winning streak in the nation coming into the game. And Oklahoma said, I don't care. I don't care about your home situation. I don't care about Bryant-Denny Stadium. Do you see what happened 2 weeks ago in Neyland? We took care of business and we got a big win over a top 25 team. And Alabama did it, or Oklahoma did it again. They beat the number 4 team in the nation, a team that was on an 8-game winning streak, a team that was 6-0 in SEC play, a team that hadn't lost since week 1, a team that looked like they were headed straight for the SEC title game and straight for a top 5 seed in the college football playoff, or maybe a top 4 seed. All that was right in front of Alabama. And Oklahoma said, nope, you're done. I don't care what you've been doing all year. We're Oklahoma. We're playing different football. And there's so many things to talk about in this game, so many ways to shout it out. But I want to start with the head coach, Brent Venables. I don't know if anybody has been more doubted or on the hot seat more from its own fan base than Brent Venables. And are there criticisms? 100% there are criticisms. But one thing you cannot say about this guy and this team plays its tail off. They play hard. They play to the end of the game. Are they over aggressive sometimes and get beat? Absolutely. Aggressive defenses get taken advantage of sometimes, and that happens. It happened on a 4th and 2 play when they ran that reversed. It happens. But Brent Venables teams, they play whistle to whistle from the first snap of the game to the last snap of the game. Ty Simpson had like 250 passing yards in the first half. And Oklahoma came out after halftime and they slowed things down. They slowed Ty Simpson down after halftime. Just quick look at the stats, and we'll do more stat discussion here later. But through the first half, Alabama had 274 total yards. In the second half, they only had 132 total yards. Through the first half, Ty Simpson threw for 246 yards. And then in the second half, only threw for 80 yards. In the first half, Alabama was 4 of 7 on third down. Second half, they were just 1 of 6. And this is what I talk about right here. This team they could have folded at any point. They're giving up big play after big play after big play. They gave up a gash run to Daniel Hill, who looked great when he got the ball. And they just kept fighting. They just kept battling every single snap defensively. They just kept battling. And the offense just kept battling. They kept hold of the ball. They did not turn the ball over, even though John Mateer tried to a few times. They didn't turn the ball over, got some fortune from the football gods on that front, and won a game that, again, you look at the statistics other than turnovers, and Oklahoma didn't really have much reason to be in this game in the first half, except you get the biggest plays of the game with the Eli Bowen interception, the Taylor Wines strip sack, the Peyton Bowen pass deflection at the end of the game. Absolutely beautiful. You get the Isaiah Satania punt return to start the game. You get the 3 and out, and then they punt the ball, and Isaiah Satania just takes it back 48 yards to put you in great position to go at least get a field goal. And you get on the board first on the road in Bryant-Denny Stadium against that Alabama team. You're off to a great start. And then you get a second 3 and out. Like, the defense balled out today. Yeah, they gave up a bunch of yards, but man, they made the plays when they needed to make the plays. And that's the part of this team that I think is the most exciting thing to watch. Is, yeah, they might give up a big play here. They might give up a big play there. They might give up some points at times. And listen, that's Alabama offense was averaging 32 points per game. Ty Simpson had only thrown 1 interception all year. Should have had 2, if we're being honest, except Kendall Daniels gets called for pass interference and the interception gets negated. But they're just playing with so much heart, so much physicality. And this is what we've been expecting, right? You're 8-2 now. All offseason, when we said, hey, 2024 was an aberration. It was a year that just did not make sense because of all the injuries that they've had and all the guys that were banged up on the offensive line and at wide receiver and some of the performances from your quarterbacks. 2024 did not make sense. Your defense played well enough for you to win more games than you did in 2024. And everybody was ready to get rid of Brent Venables. And I get it. Wins and losses, that's all you're going to look at. That's all that matters. You go 6-7, that's all people are going to look at. I get it. Totally get it. At the same time, you had to look at what he was building. He was building a culture that never quits. And that's the exciting thing about what Brent Venables has done and what he continues to build with this team. You didn't have your best player on the field today. R. Mason Thomas is easily your best player. And you didn't have him. He was out. Not even questionable, not even probable, just was out. He wasn't going to play. And you still found a way to win. You still found a way to get just enough pass rush on Ty Simpson to create just enough turnovers, to create just enough stops to win a game that you were a touchdown underdog in, to win a game that you were severely outgained in. You were outgained by almost 200 yards in this game. Incredible. Just incredible. But you win the turnover battle 3-0. You win the special teams battle. And again, you make just enough plays on defense to win a game. So shout out to the team. Shout out to Brent Venables. Shout out to this defense. And shout out to the offense, man. Again, Did they play good? No, they didn't play good. They did not play good ball. Play well. Excuse me, pardon my misgrammar usage there. The offense didn't play well, but they played well enough. They took advantage of some short fields and got points on the board. And ultimately, that is all that matters, is you scored enough more points than the other team, and your offense gave you opportunities to get points. The John Mateer touchdown run for 20 yards, the 20-yard touchdown run by John Mateer, the getting into field goal range for Tate Sandell, who is awesome once again. You did just enough, and that's all that matters. As the great Al Davis, former Oakland Raiders, Los Angeles Raiders, Oakland Raiders owner, said, just win, baby. And the Oklahoma Sooners just won. We're going to break it down. We'll talk more about this game coming up. We got so much to say. Got your comments flowing over in the chat. Thank you so much for being here with us on Locked On Sooners Live. Again, we're going to talk. I didn't even have time to update the thumbnail or the background over there because I was just so excited to get in here and talk Oklahoma football with you. But we're going to talk about what the defense did, some of the best plays of the game, some of the outstanding performances, talk about the offense. We'll talk about it. We'll break it down, even though, hey, listen, it was good enough. They got the win. Got to keep improving. We'll do more of that coming up here on Locked On Sooners. It's the weekend, and it's time to look and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most, and let's break it down. For Oklahoma, Eli Bowen delivered in a big way. He had the interception against Jalen Milroe last year that put Oklahoma in scoring position, helped them win that game, had the pick six for over 80 yards in this one, had me celebrating like I was a 2-year-old. I don't know. I was so excited. Like I just got my favorite toy on Christmas. That's how excited I was. When the pressure was on, Eli Bowen and the Oklahoma defense came through, no hesitation, no delay. And you've been watching week after week. This performance wasn't a fluke. Bowen and the defense are on a streak. And just like Eli Bowen delivered for Oklahoma, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday. You order, stack it all up all season, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through 11/18. Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And again, thanks for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network in the industry. So listen, another just great win. This team finds ways to pull out wins. Against Ole Miss, they had opportunities late in the game, just couldn't come through. Against Tennessee, they had opportunities and they won the game. John Mateer, again, was not great, but they made enough plays to get this win. They made enough plays to keep their college football playoff hopes alive. They made enough plays to go on the road in a big time environment and get a W. And that's the part that matters the most. This was just a clutch performance for this team. This was just a clutch performance for Brent Venables and his defense. We've been asking this team to win games they shouldn't win, right? In the SEC, you've got to come through in some of these moments where, listen, you're the underdog, but if you've got playoff aspirations and you've got national championship aspirations, you have to win games like this. And this team won it. This team won a game that they, for the most part, didn't really have business winning. I thought that they could pull it out. I thought that they could find ways to win, but this was a tough one, man. This was a tough game to watch at times. This was a game that, I felt like was going to be one that Oklahoma could find a way to run the ball and really weren't able to find a way to run the ball. This was a game that you needed John Mateer to elevate his play, and he didn't really elevate his play. And so it comes down to Oklahoma's defense, and a defense that came through in the clutch. The end of the first half, we could even look at that. End of the first half, Alabama's driving the field. they're moving the ball after the first few drives where Oklahoma forced some 3 and outs and Oklahoma didn't really, have opportunities to get off, or they couldn't really score and take advantage of all those opportunities. Alabama, they started moving the ball. Ty Simpson was hitting receivers down the field. He was coming through on third down, moving the ball into the first half. They're moving the ball. They're getting into field goal range, but Oklahoma defense stands tall. They are able to force a field goal for a kicker that's not super consistent, and Taylor Wine comes through jumping over the pile and gets his finger on it. It may not have gone in anyway, but you certainly respect that he had an impact and changed the trajectory of that kick. It wobbled and was going all over the place. And then you come out in the second half and you played great ball. I mean, yes, they scored a touchdown to take a 21-20 lead, in the third quarter. But let's just look at the drives real quick, because let's see, Alabama, they get a touchdown with 7:27 left to go in the third quarter. 7:27 left to go in the third. So much time left on the clock. And here are Alabama's final 4 drives. All right. Final 4 drives. Punt. 3 plays. Punt. 120 taken off the clock. 3 plays. Fumble. Taylor Wine. Hats off to you, my guy, doing your best R. Mason Thomas impression with the strip sack. Fumble, my guy. Huge game from you. Fourth quarter, Alabama only had the ball twice in the fourth quarter. Punt, 3 plays, minus 2 yards, punt. And then the final one, 13 plays, 42 yards, 6 minutes, 24 seconds taken off the clock, turnover on downs. Alabama's final 4 drives after they took a 1-point lead, 21-20, went as such: punt, fumble, punt, turnover on downs. That is clutch defense. Clutch defense from this Oklahoma Sooners unit. Again, making just enough plays to get off the field, making just enough plays to win the game. This was a performance that, we talk about all these games in years past that were just iconic performances. This is going to be one of those that's an iconic performance. This is going to be one of those that shows up in the highlight videos for years to come, because this Oklahoma team went on the road against the number 4 team in the nation, a team that was a 6 to 7 point favorite throughout the week. And even though they gave up a bunch of yards in the first half, just shut it down in the second half. Shut it down. Alabama had 1 good drive in the second half. That was it. Their first drive of the second half, they get the touchdown. And then they get nothing else. No more points. That's incredible. That's just incredible defense. Again, I'm going to go over the stats for the people that are just joining us. In the first half, Alabama had 274 total yards, averaged 6.2 yards per play. In the second half, they had just 132 total yards and averaged just 4.3 yards per play. In the first half, Alabama was 4 of 7 on third down, 1 of 1 on fourth down. In the second half, they were 1 of 6 on third down, 1 of 2 on fourth down. In the first half, they ran 44 plays to R21. In the second half, they ran 31 plays. We ran 30. Big difference. Big difference. In the first half, they had the time of possession won by 9 minutes. In the second half, they had the time of possession won by 16 seconds. Just shake my head, man. That's how you come out after halftime. That's how you make adjustments and come out playing a totally different ball game. And I've seen several people mention it in the chat that Oklahoma owns the state of Alabama. Like 2 years in a row, we beat both Alabama teams. And listen, you have your flag planted in the state of Alabama. I hope they gave them a good interest rate, because we own it. we own Alabama. We went into, Jordan Hare last year and beat Auburn with a true freshman quarterback. And then we went into Bryant Denny this year and beat them with an offense that just hasn't been very good. We'll be frank about it. You own Alabama. Oklahoma owns Alabama. And you've got that Sooner magic going. You got the big win in Neyland against Tennessee. Again, another difficult road environment. A game where you weren't necessarily somebody who maybe should have gone into Neyland to win that one. This is great. I got to bring up this comment right here. Z Branch says, OU hasn't lost a true road game. Get ready to shave that head, John. LOL. No, they haven't. I'm feeling a lot more confident about Oklahoma not losing another game. I feel really confident about Oklahoma going 10-2. A lot more confident now. You got Missouri and LSU coming up next. I feel pretty good about it. So that was my bold proclamation on social media. I think maybe before the Ole Miss game or after the Ole Miss game. I think it was after the Ole Miss game that if Oklahoma didn't go 10-2, I would buzz the head. And I was fully prepared to go and do that. I'm talking to my barbershop now, and I'm going to line things up to make that happen if Oklahoma doesn't go 10-2, but I'm feeling a lot more confident about getting to keep the hair. I think maybe my daughter's energy and her disappointment about potentially me buzzing my hair, it lifted to the football gods. And now Oklahoma has a great chance to go 10-2, 8-2 on the season, a team that is just battling for everything right now, a team that you can be proud of, a team that you can be excited for because, hey, it may not always look pretty, but you're going to find a way to win a game. You're going to find a way to stay in the game. Other than that third quarter against Texas and kind of the way that you started the game against Ole Miss, this team has played really good ball all year long. And I couldn't be more proud to be an Oklahoma fan. Couldn't be more proud to do this podcast. Listen, it's super fun to do it regardless, whether they win or lose, but it's a whole lot more fun to do it when they win because I don't like to be a negative Nancy. I like to talk ball, but I don't want to just rip on teams all the time. And so, yeah, man, just incredibly excited for this team. Brent Venables has taken a lot of heat over the years. The losses to Kansas and Oklahoma State back in 2023, the 6 and 7 seasons, but man, I couldn't be more happy for that guy and for his staff, to be able to get a win like this because it's a statement win, just like 2 weeks ago was against Tennessee. It's a statement win. You put that on your resume and you say, hey, why not us? And so you're in position now to make a college football playoff berth. All you've got to do is beat Mizzou and LSU. And if you do that, you're going to be in great shape. You are going to have maybe one of the best resumes in college football, to be honest. Out of this week, you might be a top 6 team. You're going to get a big bump in the college football playoff rankings. But again, could not be happier for Brent Venables, could not be happier for this team, could not be happier for Sooner Nation. All the things that have gone on since 2021. It's been dramatic, right? It's been dramatic to say the least, whether it was quarterback changes or coaching changes or, not having your best seasons, having historically bad seasons. You've kind of waded through it all, and we're a passionate fan base. We get mad when the things don't go Oklahoma's way. We get excited when it does. We're going to support this team through thick and thin, no matter what. This is our team. We are Oklahoma. And these kind of wins, they just give you even more fire, right? They just give you even more excitement for what's coming and what could come down the road. Because this is a team that can get better. It can still get better. And I'm excited to see where it goes. Because you just win football games and you give yourself a shot. You just get to the playoff and you give yourself a shot. I don't know if Oklahoma is going to win it all. I don't know that. I would love to see it. But by winning this game, you give yourself a shot to go win it all. By winning 2 weeks ago in Neyland, you gave yourself a shot to go win it all. 2 weeks in a row, 2 games in a row, must-win environments, playoff-like atmospheres, you got the dub. Just win, baby. And Oklahoma did. Don't care how it looks. Don't care what it looks like. Don't care how you do it. You just win football games. And that's the element of this team that is so exciting to watch. Okay, let's talk about a few player performances in this one. We'll go down through some of the stats and just front to back, from the defensive line to the secondary. We'll talk about the offensive side of the ball as well. I'll try to scroll through some of your comments and see what that looks like, because there's so many great ones out there. When there's not 2 of us here, because Jay went to the game, Jay was in Tuscaloosa for this, providing that Sooner Magic energy for Oklahoma. But we'll break some of this down. Okay. So yeah, we'll do that coming up. Player performances on this episode of Locked On Sooners Live. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game more exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, we're going to talk player performances. We'll start with the defense. We're going to start with the defensive line because they were great once again up front. Didn't provide as much pressure as maybe they normally do, but again, provided enough pressure. Taylor Wine, the dude was excellent once again. This guy just is living up to all of the preseason hype and all of the preseason expectations. R. Mason Thomas said he was going to be the breakout star for the defensive end group and defensive line, and he's very much come through. In this one, he had, He had 3 total tackles. He had a sack, tackle for loss, and 2 quarterback hits and a forced fumble. The forced fumble late was huge, just incredibly huge for Oklahoma. You get the forced fumble and where was it? Yeah, you get the forced fumble and you're able to keep that Alabama offense on the sideline. Just huge. You look at, I was looking at the wrong one. So you get the fumble. Yeah, you have to punt, but you take 4 minutes off the clock before you do so. That was huge. Taylor Wine, once again, just continues to be phenomenal. He blocked the kick. That was awesome. He was great. Just absolutely great. I thought the interior was really good for the most part. They did get some runs, but when you have a 240-pound running back, they're going to run the ball sometimes. But they only averaged 2.4 yards per carry in this one. They had some goal line runs for touchdowns, and usually Oklahoma is able to stop those, but they didn't. But otherwise, Oklahoma's run defense was really good. Once again, the interior defensive line was fantastic. You just got to tip your hat to Alabama being able to make some plays. Had that was a 28-yard run early in the third quarter that kind of helped set up their touchdown drive. But other than that, the interior was really, really good. But really, it was Taylor Wine. I mean, he was phenomenal once again. Just played a great game. Got to get more out of your other edge guys, your Adepoju Adebaware, your Danny Okoye's. Got to get more out of those guys. Marvin Jones Jr. He had a nice hit on Ty Simpson early in the game on the first drive that led to that 3-and-out to open the game. Linebacker, I thought Kip Lewis was great once again. 7 total tackles. He had 2 tackles for loss, and all of his 7 total tackles were solo tackles. A lot of times, you'll see some stats where it's like a guy gets 7 total tackles and only 2 of them are solo, a bunch of them are assisted. No, he had 7 total tackles. So he was huge. He had 2 tackles for loss and a quarterback hit. Provided pressure on the Eli Bowen pick 6. That was huge, obviously, in this game. Kip Lewis, coming down the face of Ty Simpson and getting right in his face and making him throw a ball that maybe he didn't feel comfortable enough to throw that ball, and that turned into 7 points for Oklahoma. So Kip Lewis with a great game. In the secondary, it was rough, no doubt. It was a rough performance from the secondary. Ty Simpson's going to throw the ball, and he was great once again. But Oklahoma made enough plays in the secondary. You had the Eli Bowen interception. You had Peyton Bowen with a pass breakup at the end of the game on that 4th down. I thought Cortland Guillory, wasn't good in coverage when he was in man coverage. Did a really nice job playing both Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard. Teams are throwing at him less and less because they're finding less success throwing at Cortland Guillory. And that's awesome. That's awesome to see the true freshman start making offensive coordinators think twice about throwing his direction. Robert Spears-Jennings would have had an interception had Kendall Daniels not interfered with the wide receiver, and the interference had no bearing on the interception. R. Mason Thomas jumped it perfectly and would have had an interception. Jaden Hardy on a special teams, he's a safety, had a special teams fumble forced, and that turned into a touchdown. There were a lot of really good performances on defense. And again, it wasn't perfect, but it didn't need to be perfect. It just needed to be good enough. And they were good enough to win. You could look at, again, I thought the interior played really, really good. Robert Spears-Jennings had 6 or 5 total tackles. Samuel Masiko had 6 total tackles. David Stone had 4 total tackles. I thought he was really good. Just active once again, just playing with his hair on fire. And he's just a sophomore. The dude's going to continue to get better and better and better. I'm excited for the direction and the development of the defensive line with him. Offensively, there's not a lot of great to talk about, but let's run through the stats real quick. Isaiah Satania, 4 catches, 26 yards. Jermichael Carter came in, 3 catches, 36 yards. He had 2 really important catches. One that was a big kind of catch and run and went for a first down. What was it? Along a 22 for Jermichael Carter. But then he had a 7-yard reception that gave him a 2nd and short. Giovanni Gibson, 2 catches, 26 yards. He had one that was on a nice little hot route. Alabama blitzed and Giovanni recognized it and John Mateer recognized it, and they connected on that, showed really good chemistry on that when they both saw the blitz. So we'll love to see that. Love to see those guys kind of getting in there, making plays. Obviously John Mateer's touchdown run, the 20-yard run for the touchdown was huge. Like, you don't win the game without that. So has to continue to get better as a passer, has to get more confident as a runner. But again, no turnovers from John Mateer. He should have had 3 interceptions, but he didn't. So you can't credit him for should have hads because he didn't have them. Ty Simpson did have them and could have had 1 more interception if it wasn't, if he wasn't careful about it or if there wasn't a penalty. The Bowens are great. It was just a really good team win, just a really good team win. And that's the thing that is the most impressive to me about this. The offensive line didn't play great. They played good. John Mateer had enough time at times, but he just didn't feel comfortable with what he was seeing down the field especially when Alabama was dropping into zone. So he didn't throw it. Okay. It's fine. He didn't take a lot of negative plays. It's fine. He played winning football in this one. When you have a defense that plays the way Oklahoma's defense plays, that's how you want your quarterback to play. Now, I would love for them to go put up, video game numbers and throw for 300 yards and score 40 points. Absolutely. I'd want that, but that's not what we have. So I'm not going to pretend like that's what it should be. That's what it was early in the season. Obviously a lot's changed. That's not what we have now. And so what I want my quarterback to do is just not lose you the game. Take care of the football, make enough plays, make the plays that are there to make the plays you feel confident in making, and score just enough points. Score more points than the other team. Give your team a chance to win the football game. And that's what John Mateer did. He gave them a chance to win the football game because he didn't turn it over. He didn't take a lot of negative plays. He lived to fight another day. He let special teams be a weapon, and it was. He let the defense be a weapon, and it was. I'm fine with that. Perfectly fine with that. I was very impressed with Alabama's run defense. I thought they were a lot better in this one than they'd been all year. Now, our guy Jimmy Stein over at Locked On Bama had kind of told us that the run defense had been pretty good for the most part. Just they would give up some big runs from time to time. And Oklahoma wasn't able to get any big runs aside from the 20-yard run from John Mateer for the touchdown. So hey, credit to them. They played a really good defensive game. We knew their secondary was going to be really good. They're very good against pass defense. What we thought was going to be Oklahoma's path to victory was going to be running the football, and they just couldn't find enough running room against this defense. Now, I would have liked for them to run it more with Xavier Robinson. He only got 10 carries in this one. But that's just a me thing. I would like for them to give him 10 carries in the first half as opposed to the 6 that he had. And he only had 4 carries in the second half. To me, that's not enough, but I digress. You got enough points to win the football game. That's really all you can do. The offensive line, it had a hard day against Alabama. They went back from Ryan Foje to Derek Simmons. I'll be curious if there was an injury there or if they just didn't feel like he was playing well enough. Derek Simmons was healthy. He's your veteran option there. That's fine. Eddie Pierre-Louis had a false start on a play on a key 3rd and 3, I think it was late in the game. That kind of stinks, but I felt like otherwise the pass protection was good once again, because it's been good for the most part this year. John Mateer had more than enough time to find things down the field. Just couldn't find it. Didn't feel comfortable enough with what he was seeing to let the ball go. It's fine. And then, Xavier Robinson, I felt like he ran hard. That's what you want your guy to do. Jaren Kanak came through with a couple really clutch receptions that gave Oklahoma first downs to get them going on some drives. It was like the first play of the drive. They went Kanak's way. Maybe they need to go his way more because he is effective receiving the ball. So, it again, offensively, not a great day. We're not going to say it was. It was good enough though. And can we as the fan base be happy with and satisfied with good enough? I hope we can. It has to get better. I don't think anybody's going to sit there and claim it doesn't have to get better. But to go win a game like this on the road against the number 4 team in the nation, just take your win and go home and be fat, dumb, and happy. Go celebrate with your family. Go celebrate by watching, Georgia versus Texas, and just enjoy that. Like I'm going to enjoy it. Yes, it has to get better. And we can talk more about how the offense has to get better. And we will with Jay when he comes back. But you just can't be more pleased for a team win. And John Mateer said it after the game with Molly McGrath. He said, this was a we win. Because she said, how do you? And he's like, it's a we win. We as a team won. This was a team win. And it was. So just thrilled for that. Arbuckle can continue to get better from a play calling standpoint. Special teams was awesome. Once again, you got the Isaiah Satania punt return for a touchdown. You got the Jaden Hardy forced fumble recovered by Samuel Masigo. You got Tate Sandell, who was 2 for 2 and extends that OU streak of field goals kicked in a row or made in a row. He was good. The kick coverage was good. Once again, they're winning on special teams, and earlier in the season, they weren't winning on special teams, but they were winning games anyway, when the offense was looking a little bit better. So now the special teams has come together. Defense is still playing their tails off. Offense get just a little bit better, right? Get 1% better. And this thing can get even better. Just get a little bit better against Missouri next week. Get a little bit better against LSU to finish the season. Go win your 2 games. And you're going to have an opportunity to go to the playoff. I want to go through some of your fan comments here on the show, because there's been just so many really good takeaways. And if I didn't get to it so far, sorry about that. But let's start right here. Reverend Rick says, how sweet it is. Heck yeah. Boomer Sooner. Yeah, man. It's sweet, man. It's just a sweet win. That's all you really need, is just need a win. That's all you need. And you just keep winning. You'll be in the playoff. Let's see. Taylor Wine is a dude. This comes from Solo Kingdom. Yeah. That guy has just lived up to all the preseason expectations. He's been one of your better players. R. Mason Thomas to me is your best player. Taylor Wine might be your second best player on this defense. And today he was your best player. He provided pressure. He got the strip sack with the fumble. Just fantastic. Willie says, thank God for the defense. Mateer almost threw the game away on the last play. I mean, Mateer was a little reckless with the ball sometimes, but listen, again, just enough plays to win the game. Taylor Wine's fumble sack was the game-winning moment. Yeah, totally was. This was just a good win for everybody involved. The defense played well enough to win. Tritty Media says, super proud of our defense and special teams, but our offense is so entirely useless. I really don't like Mateer and Arbuckle. I get it. It's not the offense that we've come to expect. But it is what we have. It's what we got to work with. So now you just got to figure out a way to win football games with the offense that you have. And you are. Bowen Boys for the win, says Swaroop 812. Yeah, the Bowens, man. Peyton Bowen had taken kind of a lot of heat over his first couple of years in Norman because he just hadn't lived up to that 5-star billing. But over the last few games, he has. He's been one of your star players for that defense. And Eli Bowen, I mean, he just makes plays against Bama. I don't know if he just watched Bama growing up and he's like, I'm going to get him one day. I'm going to get Alabama. Or if he went through Alabama with his family one time and just had a really bad experience and he just sees blood when he sees Alabama. But man, Eli Bowen just makes plays against Bama. And they're going to be feeling that one for a long time. Deck asks, when will the offense catch up with the defense? When's the last time Sooner defense was this good? It's been a long time. It's been a long time since you could go through and say a defense won you the football game. It's been a long time since you've been able to do that consistently. I don't know. The GP Films Golf says, I almost blew my throat out, but I had to fight tears. I love that defense is winning these. Sure, I miss offense dominating, but man, I love hitting a quarterback just as much. Yeah, I mean, this is what Brent Venables was brought here to do. Bring defense back to Oklahoma. And he's done it. He's done it. We have a defense that our fan base can be proud of. Our fan base can believe that can go win you a football game because they just came through in clutch situations in this game. Again, that first half had a chance to get away from you. And I said it at halftime on social media. I said, against Tennessee, Oklahoma was getting outplayed and were outgained by a lot by that Tennessee offense. I think Oklahoma only had like 99 total yards against Tennessee in the first half, but they went into halftime with a 16-10 lead. In this one, you had like 107 yards in the first half. What was it total? You had 107 total yards in the first half. You were getting outplayed on the yardage standpoint, but your defense made big plays and you went into halftime up 17-14. That's huge, man. Just absolutely huge. Frightening Truth said, y'all held up y'all's end of the bargain. I knew y'all would win. I cheered for y'all the whole way, which is odd for me as a Texas fan. I believed. Now we got to take care of business to keep us alive. I saw a comment like this on one of our YouTube videos that a Texas fan was cheering for Oklahoma. And the feeling is not mutual. We are not cheering for you. I would be really hard pressed to cheer for Texas, even if it meant it was going to help Oklahoma get into the playoff. Listen, I don't want Texas helping Oklahoma. Let's just say that. Let's see. Looking for some more. Jeffrey Albert says defense wins championships. Man, and we got that defense. We really do. Despite having some coverage deficiencies at times, this defense just plays clutch ball. They do. Let's see here. Man, we appreciate you guys so much for being in the chat. There's so many great ones. Charles says, still surprised that Wine didn't break Simpson's hand on the strip sack. His hand was hit hard between Wine and his body. He was extremely lucky to get it not broke. I mean, Wine crushed him. I mean, it looked like the Owen Heineke hit on Joey Aguilar last week. Just a really, really great hit. Jesse Bean says, such a great defensive showing, and Bowen with that deflection at the end. Can't wait to be able to trust in the offense more. Yeah. I mean, if the offense steps up and they find a way to play better, watch out, because this team's going to be something. It's going to be something. The defense, white boy slick. The defense ended the game. Yeah. When was the last time we saw the defense get a stop in a situation where just a field goal wins Alabama the game? They're playing to have the ball last in this one. And all they need is a field goal. And Oklahoma's defense forced them to 2 4th downs, and they got to stop on the game-ending one. Just crazy, man. I'm in like part shock and part in awe of how that happened. It's just one of those games where sometimes the analysis doesn't make sense. Sometimes the moments don't necessarily make sense. All you can really say is just your team came through in the most important moments of the game. And it did. Brent Venables' football team, his defense came through in the most important moments of the game. End of the first half, holding Alabama to a field goal when they're driving. I mean, they're moving the ball. End of the second half, 4th down stop, you win the football game. Just clutch. JB says the defensive adjustments after halftime won the game. They absolutely did. A much different defense, a defense that came out with its hair on fire, came out trying to prove a point, played a lot faster and a lot more physical. I felt like in the first half, they were a little bit sluggish when they were rushing the passer, but second half, totally different team, totally different defense. And again, just super pumped, super excited for them, super excited for Oklahoma fans. Like, this puts Oklahoma potentially in a trajectory to host a college football playoff game. How crazy would that be? Oklahoma has a chance to host a college football playoff game. If you win out, you beat Missouri, you beat LSU, there's no reason why you shouldn't be a top 8 seed in the playoff. Seeds 5, 6, 7, and 8 get to host playoff games in the first round. You're going to have that opportunity. That's wild. That is wild to me, right? I think after the Texas game, I don't think anybody would have considered that a possibility. I think even after the Ole Miss game, some people would be like, man, I just don't know. I don't know. If Oklahoma's able to sneak into the playoff as like a 10 seed, that's what we were hoping about. I think that's what everybody was hoping for. But you win this game. Like, I was sitting there last week talking about how BYU losing opened the door for a 9-3 Oklahoma to get into the playoff. Now you control your own destiny. You go take care of business against Missouri and against LSU. Don't sleep on either of those teams, because either of those teams have enough talent that they can make your life difficult, and they could find a way to upset you on the road or at home. So don't sleep on them. Don't read your own press clippings. You got a big win. It was huge. It was monumental. It was a win that, again, keeps everything right in front of you, keeps your national championship hopes, your college football playoff hopes alive. So take care of business. Take care of your business during the week. Take care of your business in the games. And yeah, just take care of business. This is huge. Absolutely huge. It's huge for the present. It's huge for the future. It opens doors for some prospects that maybe weren't still in on Oklahoma because they weren't sure about the direction. They weren't sure about the future. Well, I think you can be secure that your future is bright with Brent Venables. After the 6 and 7 season last year, when everybody was ready to kind of move on, he came into this year, quote unquote, on the hot seat. He's absolutely coached himself off. Brent Venables is your guy because this team battles every single week for this guy. And he's got this team, even with an average offense, one of the worst offenses in the SEC, he's got this team on the verge of clinching a college football playoff berth. Just got to get 2 more wins. I think they can do it. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling confident. Again, Thank you so much for being in the chat, being with us here on Locked On Sooners Live. Again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network in the industry. We'll be back to talk more about this. Jay will give us his reaction for our Monday show as well. And don't forget about the SEC live reaction show at 11 a.m. Central Time on Sunday, where I'm sure there will be a lot of Oklahoma-Alabama discussion in that game or in that show. So make sure you tune in to that. But again, shout out to you all. You all are the best. You all are, we love you. We appreciate you. And we thank you for being here with us on Locked On Sooners. But until next time, I'm John Williams for my guy, Jay Smith. Boomer Sooner! Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, bum.